And we are back. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome again to Social Day 2020. We are in the final stretch now. We have done so many sessions and we've learnt so much. What was your favourite? Let me know in the chats box inside the app. So coming up this afternoon, we've got some great sessions, starting with the social media content panel, and there's other things going on the second stream as well. Please check in your app for what exactly they are. I wanted to cover a couple of things before we go into the next session in just 5 minutes. First of all, I wanted to talk about the fact that Talkwalker are doing a giveaway. So what they're doing is they're tracking the Social Day 20 hashtag across social media, and they're going to be looking for the most influential tweeter, and for that person they're going to send out prizes. So make sure that you're using the Social Day 20 hashtag and sharing as much as possible. We've had some great sessions, like I said before. You'll be able to catch up on every single one of those sessions again in the app a week after tomorrow. So next Friday, you'll be able to go back and look at those. Another thing I want to mention is that the 2021 passes are now available on socialday.co.uk. We've made a link at the top saying buy a 2021 pass, and you get a 2021 pass to the event, which is actually going to take place in London over 3 days. We'll all be able to get together. We hope, we're pretty confident that we will be able to, with safety measures in place. This will take place in London, in Shoreditch, in Old Street, and it's going to be amazing, an amazing event. Same kind of setup available. It's just that we're going to be able to get together in person and eat great food and drink great drinks and have an amazing party, we hope. So you can do that now, socialday.co.uk. And a couple of other things to mention. Please make sure that you are going over to visit the booths and chat to our sponsors in there as well. And I don't know if you did, but did you take part in the quiz last night? Because I was watching it and it looks like so much fun. Who won? Do you know? Comment in the boxes below. But we also have a leaderboard that's going on as well in the actual app, where you can win even more prizes. We're all about winning lots of prizes, aren't we? We think it's a good way for you guys to give you some incentive to start interacting with each other and that kind of thing, and it really is working. We had some stats that there was something like 1,800 direct messages that's happened over the last couple of days within the app between you guys, and 2,500 forum messages and that kind of thing as well. So it feels like you're actually talking to each other within the app. So we're kind of recreating that offline experience online. And next year, we think we'll do a hybrid style event where we'll get together and we'll also be able to communicate through the app as well, which is really exciting. So let me just let you know who's on the other stream at the moment. So on this stream, we're going to be doing the social media content panel with Andy Lambert and co. And on the second stream, we're going to be looking at understanding Gen Z mindset on TikTok. And that is with Tim, Armu, and Joe Saul from Fan Bites. I love those guys. And there's nothing, I don't think, that Tim Armu doesn't know about this, about TikTok and algorithms and that kind of thing. So it's well worth heading over to watch if you want to. And then this afternoon after that, we've got the attention economy, and we're going to be looking at when social media goes wrong with Ian Scott, which is going to be great. And then straight into being successful on camera and confident on camera, and then the how to explode your brand visibility as well. There's so many great talks coming up this afternoon. I'm so excited. I know I left you for a little while there, but I'm back again, and I'll be back with you for the afternoon. So please do keep messaging me in the app. Let me see if any chats, comments are coming through on there at the moment, or if there's anything you want to say and want to ask me. Looks like everybody's been talking about going to their meetings and that kind of thing. So I'm very, very impressed. Okay, so enough of me. Let's head over to what it is that you really want to see, which is our talks today. Coming up now is the social media content panel, headed up by Andy Lambert, director at Content Cal, with Eloise Head, Arthur Biddy, Charlotte Williams, and Will Bonner Didio. And Charlotte was here actually, and she did a talk yesterday. So you may see her and think, oh, that's a recognisable face. So that's it from me. And please do ask your questions in the discuss box. Over to Andy.
Thanks so much, Lucy. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy, one of the founding team of Content Cal. You might have heard of us, but fortunately, today is not about me, so you're not going to be hearing from me very much. I just get the absolute privilege of asking the questions of our very learned panel. So, who do we have on the panel? So let's do a quick round of intros, because this session is all about getting into as much detail as possible related to social media content. And we've got a really great diverse mix of expertise on this panel. So get your questions in and we'll be asking them live. I've got a few questions already prepared, and I'd asked the question in the app earlier. So lots of people have put in some submissions already. So great. So who have we got? So Charlotte Williams, already, as Lucy mentioned, you might have seen her talk yesterday, founder of 7-6 Agency, working with diversity-focused and purpose-driven brands. So a fantastic addition to this panel. Then we've got Eloise Head, founder of Fitwaffle, just past 1 million followers on all platforms. So I think within about 3 years. So it's incredible growth. And just a word of warning, don't look at Fitwaffle on Instagram if you're feeling a slight bit hungry, because the content is incredible. Athara Bibi, head of social at British Heart Foundation, having had a look at the content that Athara and the team are producing related to UGC and working with big name brands and big name individuals. And it's clear that social media and the purpose behind social media gets no more powerful than when it's used in an application as meaningful as British Heart Foundation. So Athara, great to have you on the panel. And finally, last but no means least, and a fellow Social Media Day or Social Day alumni, Will Bonadio, so ex-social media editor-in-chief at McDonald's and now senior client partner at Electric House. And for those of you that are not aware, sure most of you are already, Electric House are one of the largest publishers on Facebook, reaching more men in 2019 than any other Facebook publisher. So a brilliant panel, I'm sure you'll agree. So anyway, let's dive straight into it. I'm going to start with a big, broad question. So what channels are driving the best organic growth right now? So Eloise, can we start with you, please? What's driving the best organic growth?
Best organic growth at the moment, I reckon, is TikTok. I think it's probably the most powerful at the moment, because what I've found with it is that you can basically have 0 followers and your video could reach over 1 million people. And I don't think we've seen that on any other platform. I think on any other platform, you've always had to have followers to reach a lot of people. So I think TikTok is really cool.
Love it. Thank you. So Charlotte, over to you.
TikTok is obviously the winner, I'd say, and I think everyone has the same answer. So to not say TikTok, I think a forgotten social media channel is often Pinterest. So we find specifically for our beauty-focused clients, Pinterest works really, really well. And what's so great about it is you don't have to keep, developing content, because a lot of the content that does well is evergreen and just continues to do well throughout the year.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So, Will and Athar, any different contribution than TikTok, or would it be the same for you both?
No, I think we need to play a game. Sorry, do you want to go first?
I'll be quick. So we haven't quite got our TikTok strategy off the ground yet, although we have been talking to them in their TikTok for Good program. So for us, it's Instagram. We're still seeing really strong growth on Instagram. So our year-on-year growth there is 37%, which is way higher than you would have expected. But yeah.
I was just going to say, let's play a drinking game every time someone says TikTok or authenticity shot. Let's see who can last the longest. I am going to say TikTok from our perspective, and also people in the team as well. And exactly like Eloise said, you don't need a lot of followers. It shows the content to a pool of users, and then if it gains traction with them, then it will share it to many more. So not really a lot more to add, just basically, a lot of people talk about like different social networks using AI. For TikTok, it is AI. That is the way that the kind of the feed works, and I think that's a really good point of difference, and that's why you've got the chance to reach a lot more people even without any followers.
It's a brilliant point. And kind of further to this, and I'm going to go to Eloise on this one, is like, because algorithms continually change, including TikTok, right? So your main growth, Eloise, has come from Instagram, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
So the main amount of your followers are on Insta. So would you change your strategy based on where you're seeing growth come from? Or do you look at more how you can work within the ever-changing algorithms within the platform that you're best known on, in your case, Instagram, and you stick with that and double down on it? So that question make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what's really interesting here is that the Fit Waffle Kitchen that I started at the beginning of lockdown, I actually pushed a lot of my current followers from TikTok to that page. So I would say that that page wouldn't have been as successful with just Instagram as a push, and that actually what I used to do was I wouldn't actually put the full ingredients on TikTok. I would put the video on TikTok and then send people to Fit Waffle Kitchen Instagram to get all the ingredients. And the crossover from TikTok to Instagram was incredible. So
Very
yeah,
interesting.
TikTok, yeah, very interesting.
So,
Yeah.
a similar question, if I go back to you, Athar, actually, if you talk about how your Instagram's growing, would you class Instagram as your main channel that you're trying to work within the ever-changing algorithms, or are you constantly looking to evolve where you're putting your content on different platforms and experimenting ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a charity, our sort of supporter base or our follower base across all channels is quite sort of segmented, and we know that. We know that, so we have very channel specific strategies. So Instagram, we definitely think of more as our consumer supporter audience, and so we play by the rules of every channel that we're on. So we're looking for high quality, photography that really speaks to the audience. It doesn't stand out on the news feeds. I'm going to say authenticity. Sorry, I've tried to avoid it there. And so yes, but Facebook is our biggest channel in terms of the diversity of content that we post on there. The fact that we're talking to sort of supporters and beneficiaries alike, but we are, we really look at our post performance at a granular level to try and work out where the algorithm's hitting us, especially on Facebook, and what we can do to sort of always improve our edge rank. So in the coronavirus times, previously our news stories, when we posted them on Facebook, were getting very limited clicks, around 100. Now they're anywhere between, if they're relevant, obviously, between 1,000 and 3,500 in clicks, which is,
nice.
Unheard of. So we've changed a lot of our strategy to reflect that.
Amazing. That's fascinating. So going over to you, Charlotte, then. So similar kind of question to you about like tweaks and changes in strategy based on where you're seeing growth and where you're seeing like either beneficial situations from the algorithm or like negative situations as well. So are you constantly tweaking or kind of continually doubling down and working within a framework of a platform that's working either for you or your client?
We are very specific to the person that we work with. So we have a few clients who, as soon as lockdown happened, they were like, TikTok, we need to get on TikTok, and wanted to create a whole new strategy. We were just like, that's not going to work for your product. Do you have money to put behind it? Do you have money to spend on influencer content? No, okay, not going to work. But Instagram for us is the biggest platform, is what we use, similar to what Athar said. It's the one that we get results from, we get growth from all throughout the board. So we like to double down on what works. The algorithm does surprise us sometimes. We've had recent results where we have one case that literally happened this morning where it just doesn't make any sense. We were trying to work out the numbers, and it seems that Instagram literally broke on this. So I've got a call with them this afternoon to be like, what does this mean? But I guess I said this earlier today with someone, it's just technology. You can only do as much as it allows you to do. So you just have to do what you humanly can do to make things work. And sometimes things will work exactly how they worked before. Sometimes things will change. But that's the exciting world of social media, I guess. We just go with the flow. And as much as we can put a strategy together, everything is also always against us. So we have to just make sure that we adapt where we can.
Gotcha. Always on your toes. That's it.
Yeah.
So Will, last but no means least, mate.
Yeah.
Over to you. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's dangerous being in a social media conference because we're all talking about the next new thing, and that's right. We should be talking about the next new thing. But you have to remember where your customers are and where your users are. So we are a publishing group. it's in our interest to be across all the different channels. But Facebook is our biggest. It's where a third of all of humanity is. They're all on Facebook. And so sometimes when you have meetings with people and they're like, what are you doing on TikTok? It's like, we wouldn't reach all, more UK males if we were just on TikTok, if we just gave it all up to go on TikTok. It's just not as many on there compared to Facebook. So it's really important to just bear in mind where your audience is. We've got on a budget where we have 8 private Facebook groups. One of those groups has 2 million people in it, all about DIY. We're not just going to give that up because today it's TikTok and next week it's something else. So I would always encourage people just to consider where your users are. Definitely use the next thing just to test it out, even at a low level. But unfortunately, but whether we like it or not, Facebook is still where the vast majority of people are. But yeah, we're across all of the channels, don't get me wrong, and we've launched our brand new channel called Ministry just on TikTok, and it's going really well. It's getting big numbers, but we're not turning our back on Facebook and even Instagram yet.
Yeah, great points. So let's consider the point that many of you are on multiple platforms. Well, all of you ultimately. So when you're coming up with a piece of content, are you leading first with creating it from the creative side, so thinking about the concept first, or are you leading thinking about the platform that you're putting it on? Are you creating content specifically, think, right, I want to do something on TikTok, I'm going to build content just for that, or you think about the creative as the core and then the channel is the secondary thing? So I think I'm going to go to Athar first on this one, because you're across and you have big followings across a lot of different platforms. So over to you, Athar.
We do try and go as platform specific as possible. We try and make sure that we're making the most of that bespoke functionality that you can have on that. So at the moment we're looking at Thread Ventures, which is something we've been wanting to do for a while. Doing campaigns which kind of like do Instagram hacks, touch and hold, press and hold, all of that stuff really helps you stand out on the newsfeed as far as we're concerned. And it just, people want to play with content. I'm talking more about consumer content than sort of like health information, but where we're working on a brand campaign or we're talking about a partnership, we definitely want to bring that sort of fun side to social media first and foremost. We had a sort of single tone on social media that was sort of like that of a serious health research charity, then we would eventually just slide out of everyone's newsfeed. So we have to balance it, and going channel specific really enables us to do that and show that we know what we're doing on social, rather than just banging out the same infographic across every channel you got.
Perfect. So it's very much content driven ultimately, where you're leaning on the individual functionality within a platform to maximize the value of that content. So that example,
we include that in our we include that in our briefs as well. So when we're briefing external agencies, we'll always ask them to present something that is platform specific.
Right. Gotcha. Great point. So anyone else like to chime in on that? Any other different alternative thoughts, or agreeing with Athar?
For me, it's a bit of both. Like, you can come up with your big creative idea. This is what we do. We come up with the idea and then we say, well, how's that going to work on the individual channels? And sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it needs amending to make sure it does. And sometimes if we're on a shoot, we're like, okay, now we're going to do the dedicated bit just for stories. So we can use a lot of what we've shot, but we are going to have to take an extra half an hour just for Instagram stories, because what we've got just won't work otherwise. I think the most important thing, and this is like in my notes preparing for today, the point that I really want to make really clear for everyone listening that you can go away and use today, is always consider the channel that you're on and how people use it and what's going to work best for that. Doesn't matter what creative idea you come up with, if it's not built for sound off, first 3 seconds, attention grabbing on Facebook, then it will fail. So you can come up with any idea, but as long as you're ticking those certain boxes that you need for each channel, TikTok, make it more lo-fi. As long as you're doing those sorts of things, then pretty much any idea could potentially work, but you're setting yourself up to fail if you're not building it directly for the platform.
Fantastic points. Love that, Will. Charlotte, Eloise, anything further to add on that before we move on? Or
I would totally
I mean,
agree.
sorry, Charlotte.
Really.
Eloise,
I'm gonna
you go
Okay.
first.
Okay.
By the
Yeah, so I completely agree with Will that, you know, if you're not creating for the platform you're on, no matter how good your content is, it will probably fail. Because I've noticed this with photos, is that you can create a picture that will look beautiful on a website or on a billboard somewhere, but it's just not going to perform as well on Instagram because, I mean, your screen is about this big. You know, you want something in your face that's going to stand out and that you're going to click on because you're competing with everyone else on that platform. So unless your photo is going to stand out, then no one's going to click on it.
Yeah, we totally agree. It's just something I think I struggle with in general with some clients who have all of their content created externally. Is that all like social media 101 is to make sure that you create content that fits in with, if you're going to make it multi-platform, fits in with each platform. So often content's created for a website, the sizing does not fit an Instagram size. You can't do it to 4x5 because you're cutting off a head or a foot. If it's a full fashion piece, it's not going to work. This happens constantly. Then you have to pay extra money to get retouching and get like walls added in and things like that. You can't do things on stories. So I think it's just really important that if you're going to spend money on creating content, that you think about where that content's going to go, not just on your website or on your social media feed, like your Instagram feed, as an example.
Love it. Brilliant point. So let's stick with the theme of content creation. And Eloise, I'm going to come to you on this one, actually. So name some of your favorite tools for creating content.
So picture-wise, I generally do everything on my phone. So I'll take the pictures on my phone, I'll shoot videos on my phone, and I'll edit everything on my phone. So the apps I use are Snapseed and Lightroom for pictures, and then I use Videoleap for editing videos. And it's just one that I've really clicked with, and I just find that it does absolutely everything I need to do, and it's free. So my cost, like my outgoing cost, is so low. And it's great. Like because it's meant for the phone, like it's for Instagram and TikTok, I don't see any point in going onto the computer to edit to come back off again.
That's epic. Can you repeat those apps as well? Because I think everyone needs to know the fact that you are super low cost and you've driven it to 1 million followers plus. So yeah, repeat those again for everyone.
So for photos, it's Snapseed and the Lightroom app, and they're all free versions. And then Videoleap is the video editing app that I use, and that's free as well. I don't use the pro version.
Epic. Love it. Charlotte, over to you.
I'm really old school, and I do everything still on Photoshop and Adobe Premiere. But I do love an app called Mojo for story content creation. You can create just like really interesting, either still with some kind of movement in it or videos. To edit videos on my phone, I use InShot just to like bring things together. But normally I do everything on my computer because I'm quite old school. But I know my team love InShot, and also VSCO. So VSCO is a really great tool for adding filters that make not that great pieces of content look a lot better. So I would highly recommend VSCO, actually.
Love it. Will, over to you.
Yeah, so some excellent apps mentioned there, and I think just looking back to my McDonald's days, we would hire many very talented agencies who do amazing TV ads and out-of-home ads, and often they would apply that same ethic to creating social, and sure enough, it just didn't work. And so some of the best performing content for McDonald's, a global brand, one of the biggest brands in the world, was shot on my or a member of my team's phone. Literally when agencies were like, no, it needs to be this video, it needs to be really complicated, we're going to have this beautiful font popping up, and the last 5 seconds of this 30-second video we're going to ask a question, and it's like just literally making a photo. So I think that will always stick with me. Like literally we did a post that even the Daily Mail wrote about, BuzzFeed wrote about, Wired in the US wrote about, and it was shot on my phone. So it can happen. I think the guys have mentioned some great apps. Another one I'd probably add, particularly for the small business owners who are listening, is BigVue, BIGVUE, which basically lets you record to camera, but your script pops up while you're talking, so it just makes it a lot easier to do that. Otherwise, look, we are a dedicated social media publisher. We have high-tech equipment, I'll be honest, but we do it in a way that is designed for social and designed to make it look like it was a real person doing it. And so we've done, one of our biggest videos was Attenborough on site. So it was looking at a building site with David Attenborough impersonator doing like commentary on builders while they're working away with hilarious consequences. And if you look at that video, it looks like it was shot on a phone. That did 1 million views. So yeah, definitely you do not need super, super high tech stuff. And if you want to get like graphics and overlays and stuff like that, the ones that the guys have mentioned are great. Canva is another one that's probably worth mentioning too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Athar, over to you.
Not much to add. I think the guys have gone through all the classics. My team use Capwing as well, which they used for subtitling videos for social. So sometimes we need to do a really quick turnaround where we've got a piece to camera from a CEO or from a researcher, and the quickest way to get it subbed to go live on social is often Capwing. It's really easy. It's free.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go with some audience questions now. So Catherine DeFonso, Reels, added value or extra complication? So I'm going to, if anyone else wants to chime in, I'm going to just pick on someone. I'm going to pick on Charlotte for this one. So anyone else wants to chime in, feel free to do so. So thanks for the question, Catherine. Go for it, Charlotte.
So Reels, if anyone from Instagram's watching this, I'm so sorry, but Reels is a really fun, interesting, exciting thing that they've added to the platform, but it doesn't work as well as TikTok, and it's not as easy to use. And because it's come into place, everyone's engagement is down because Instagram want you to use Reels. So I would say use it, learn how to use it. I'm sure there'll be improvements coming soon. But in my opinion, it's just like not that great yet. But we worked with them on the launch of TikTok with some of our of Reels and some of their with our content creators, and we also worked with them a few years ago on the launch of IGTV. And IGTV has popped, and it's so important now. So let's hope that Reels does the same.
Love it. Anything else to add to Charlotte there? I'll take that.
I'd say if Facebook has introduced something, you need to know what it is and how you can make the most of it. Because if you go on your Instagram Discover page, front center massive is a Reels video every time. So you can jump on that to gain extra exposure. You'd be silly not to look at it and consider how that can work. But we also know that Facebook has a tendency of trying things and then dropping them if it's not working quickly for them. So I wouldn't say go all in, but I think you're missing a trick because they are massively focusing on it at the moment. And so you're going to get the benefit of that if you can jump on it, and you'd be missing a trick to not.
Love it. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So there's a load of questions now coming in. They're all flooding in when we've got 7 minutes left. So we're going to start doing some quick fire stuff now. Right. So let's go to a question from Charlotte Meadows, who is asking a question that I think lots of people will ask or be thinking. So is it possible to grow a following on Facebook without using paid, or does the algorithm make it impossible? Or how would you approach that? Will, I think you're probably one of the best placed to answer that one.
So look, I'm coming at this from both the ex-client and now publisher. So the question was, following, can you do it without paid?
Basically,
yes, Electric House definitely can. We do. That's not to say that we haven't used paid in the past. So for On a Budget, which is our home improvements page, we've got those groups that I talked about. We saw what was really engaging the group that people themselves had talked about and shared with each other. And then we promoted those to help grow our following. But then, yes, we've done videos that have gone viral without any paid support. If you are an advertiser, I think you need to consider your paid strategy, be it working with a publisher like us so that we can bring you loads of eyeballs organically, because that's our business. But if you're a business, let's say you're promoting a toothbrush, how are you going to get, and please interrupt me if you know this, but how can you get a whole loyal following of people who can't wait to see your next post all about a toothbrush? You're going to need to do paid activity. And also, there's a lot of papers about this. Jerry Dakin talks about this a lot. The people who like your page are going to be the most hardcore of the hardcore, and I would argue you probably don't even need to be speaking to them that much organically. So you have to use paid to be able to speak to the biggest possible target audience, people who could potentially be your customer. Otherwise, your business is just not going to grow.
That point about those people that like your Facebook page versus them being your ideal customer is a really interesting one, and one that I think a lot of people don't really bear in mind when it comes to social. So yeah, really good point. Before I move on to the next question, I'd like to give you an opportunity to input here, Adhar, because you're another one that runs a very big Facebook following. Any other thoughts on top of, well, is it possible to grow without paid or no?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, ultimately, building on what he said about that hardcore of fans, that's a blessing as well, because they're your jumping off point for amplification. They're the people that are most likely to share your content. And if you have a significant organic following, then you should definitely treat them as such, and you can use your organic followers to get you more followers by providing them with content and talking to them as if you recognize them as your sort of hardcore fans. A really good example for us is that when we've got a new TV ad coming up, we don't post that ad on our page. We get a behind the scenes video that we put on our page a few days before, as if to say, hey guys, we know you're going to be interested in this. This is something for you. And then by doing that, you build a specific relationship with that organic audience. So you're not selling them anything to them as advocates. So, we don't ask our organic audience to donate very often. We ask them to take action to support, because just by following us, they almost feel like they are our supporters. They're there as a supporter, not a customer or a donor. And that's a really interesting sort of balancing act that you need to do on social, because when you think about our followers, we only have most people only follow one charity. So if you are that charity, that's a privileged position. You then have to use it in a really specific way.
Got you. So in your view, it is still possible to grow a community on Facebook without paid, but the approach to how you market to that community and the content you provide for them just needs to be well thought through.
Yeah, treat them differently.
Yeah, I'm with you. So 2 more questions related to Facebook, and whilst we're talking about this, so a bit of a quick fire. So Facebook groups, will they grow in significance or not? Who wants to take that?
I'm happy to take it. I'll be very quick. I appreciate I'm talking a lot, but we literally own 8 groups which have over 2 million people in them. So I think groups is a massive priority for Facebook, particularly during lockdown. I mean, I was even served ads talking about groups, and they did a big push for that because it was a way to really connect people. It already was before lockdown, but it is even more so now. And groups activity actually gets better reach than page posts in the algorithm on Facebook. So yes, groups definitely here to stay. And I would strongly recommend any brands listening to think about how they can create a group that adds real value, because it really does help us work out what we're going to be talking about next with our posts. And some of our best performing posts are actually things that people have posted in a group. We've taken it, maybe it's a video of them, doing a before and after in their dining room, and we will say, do you mind if we speed it up? Do you mind if we add some music? Maybe we cut it out a little bit, and then that's gone viral for us and done absolutely massive numbers. So yes, wholeheartedly recommend jumping on the groups bandwagon if you haven't already.
Right. Yeah, no, it's absolutely ideal. And to be honest, I think that's probably it for time as well. There's a load of other questions I wish we could get to, because to be honest, we could talk for the rest of the day about social media content and the things you can do with it and what you need to go and change and the opportunities. And that's why I love this business. So those questions, we're all going to be on the chat as well on the app, so we can all answer these questions directly and indirectly as well. So nothing will be missed. So thank you everyone for your questions, and sorry we didn't have an opportunity to get round to them. But I guess as a final thought for anyone, as we've got less than a minute left. So what's the one thing that people could take away and do today? So Eloise, can I go to you on this one as a kind of closing comment?
Yeah. I would say that, well, like just start. Like if you're thinking about it, just go for it, because if you're not starting, you're just wasting time. But also just like research what's working well at the moment, like follow trends, see what's happening, and just try things. Because yeah, it's just if you don't start, then you're never going to get anywhere.
And you're a perfect example of that, to be honest, Eloise, of just cracking on, getting it done.
Going for it, yeah.
The results speak for themselves. So,
Thank you.
At this point, I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to be on this panel, and thank you everyone for taking the opportunity to listen. We'll carry on answering some of the questions, and speak to you all very soon. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.